Hey guys, I'm Mo back and welcome to day one in life of the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE, also known as the Fan Edition. Not going to do any unboxing video or anything like that. These days, when you open up the box, you pretty much get the phone and a cable, and that's pretty much it, so nothing too exciting there. But today I'm going to talk about why the Fan Edition is important and why I personally care about it. Just to give you a sneak peek, the main theme is going to be around value. But before jumping into that, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. Currently, they offer a 5G plan for as low as $15 a month. And right now, if you buy 3 months, you get 3 months free. So make sure to check them out. Link in the description below. So why does the Fan Edition matter? And no, it's not meant just for OnlyFans. It's meant for anybody who just want to get value in this smartphone. So this actually started way back in the day when Samsung had the exploding Note 7 issue. They had to recall all of that, and then later on, they rebranded the Note 7 to a Fan Edition because the Note 9 has a pretty big fan base. Back in the old days, even going way further back when phones were smaller, iPhones were tiny, everyone thought the Galaxy Note was the most outrageous thing in the world. But Samsung pretty much popularized large phones, and now these days they have become the norm. Even the smallest base model these days are 6.1 inches. And back then when the original Galaxy Note came out, that phone was only 5.3 inches. But back then, bezels are bigger and everything like that, but these days 5.3 would be considered a tiny or compact phone. So it's just interesting how 10 to 12 years people's style, taste, and everything change. And technology can change a lot, even in 1 year. But just wanted to give some quick background there on the Fan Edition, the Note line, the big Samsung fan base. But I think where the Fan Edition became really popular is basically around 2020, Samsung decided to make a big jump from the S10 all the way to the S20 just in terms of naming convention. And within this jump, Samsung priced the base model Galaxy S20 at $1,000, the Plus model at $1,200, and the Ultra model at $1,400. And in 2020, the iPhone 12 was also released. And I think part of the reason why Samsung made such a huge jump just in terms of number is they didn't want the latest flagship to be called the Samsung Galaxy S11, which implies it is a year older than the iPhone. And if you keep going at that rate, Samsung will always be a year behind. And for people who don't know anything about smartphone, they just hear that you have the S11, then they're going to think the iPhone 12 is newer. There's nuances are small, but most people who are not into tech news or anything like that, they wouldn't know. So that's why Samsung rebranded to the Galaxy S20 in order to match with the year. This year is 2023, so the current model is called the S23. So it makes sense there. Although every now and then I do have people asking me, has there really been 23 versions of Galaxy S's? Then I have to take a step back and remind them that they skipped 10 generations just to match with the years and change up the naming convention. So naming does make a really big difference, and in this case I do agree with matching it up to the year. That makes it easy to remember. So I hope that Motorola does take some note. I feel like they've been calling on with their phone Moto Razrs, and there's like no distinction. Their original flip phone was called the Razr, and when they first released their flipping smartphone, that was also called a Moto Razr. Even 2023, they're calling it the Moto Razr. In other places around the world, they call it Moto Razr Ultra. Anyways, a naming tangent regarding Motorola. But I think Samsung got the name right here. And around 2020, this was the year where we started seeing more phones cross over the $1,000 mark. So fast forward to 2023, this is kind of almost the norm just in terms of all the Pro or Ultra phones. You will see that they will cross the $1,000 threshold. And if you want to pay less than that for the base model, you obviously don't get the crazy camera setup, the 100x zoom and all that stuff. All those are reserved for phones that cost more than $1,000. And in 2023, we're looking at a phone that can reach close to $2,000, flirting with that range, especially after taxes. You see all the Galaxy Z Fold 5, Pixel Fold, OnePlus Open. Prices are definitely moving up. just in terms of all the high-end phones. But the good news is on the lower mid-range to old flagship price, you can get a lot of really good phones in that price as well. So in 2020, towards the end of the year, Samsung managed to do something amazing by re-releasing the Galaxy S20 FE Fan Edition, starting at $700. And that phone basically offers all the features that people know and love in the regular Galaxy S20 without having to spend $1,000 for it. And I think that is a really great move. And it kind of shows like Samsung realized their mistake at the beginning of the year. I know they want to sell all these premium phones, starting the base model at $1,000, but that just wasn't selling it. And you can see that immediately in the following year with the Galaxy S21, they started the base model at $800. But what we do start to see in 2021 is that sacrifices have to be made to achieve the lower price point. So with the S21, you no longer get micro SD support, you no longer get Quad HD in the base model. So little things like that had to be sacrificed to achieve the lower price point. When Samsung released the Galaxy S21 FE later on in the year, they followed a similar model, bigger phone than the base model, but it costs once again $700. It is still nice, but not quite as big of a saving compared to the previous year, since the base model was priced at $1,000. In 2021, the gap is smaller. And in 2022, there was actually no Fan Edition. Those were the COVID recovery years, supply chain issues, and things like that. So the 22 FE never made the cut. So this year, the Galaxy S23 FE is back in the picture, and they actually use last year's chip. So it's almost like they use the chip that they didn't get to use with their S22 FE. It's kind of leftover inventory. I want to get rid of it. And all the other years with the S20 and S21, the Fan Edition have always had the same chip as the main flagship phone that same year. But this was the first year that Samsung is using a year older chip. And Apple is doing the same strategy as well. The Pro models get the newest chip and the base model get an older chip. I wonder if Samsung might start doing that with their base model in 2024, but we shall see. But I guess for the case of the Fan Edition, I'm okay with it. Year to year, it doesn't really change that much. Although I do want to point out that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or the S23 is significantly more efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which the FE does have. When I was using the Galaxy S22, that phone overheats a lot. It has terrible battery life. We'll see if the S23 FE will still have the same issue. And this year with the Galaxy S23 FE, they actually start their phone at a lower price, $600, compared to the previous two generations at $700, which is, I think it's a good move in a world where the Pixel 8 at $700, Pixel 7a at $500. This fits neatly in between. And even though they use a year older chip, I think it is still fast, efficient, and it will do the job just fine. Although the timing of the release is awkward because it came out at the end of October, and by January or February, the S24 is going to come out. So immediately the S23 Fan Edition is going to be outdated. But for now, I'm still a huge fan of the price and getting a bigger phone without having to spend $1,000 for the Plus model. So at the end of the day, me just using the S23 FE so far after a day, it feels pretty comfortable and familiar. I used the S23 early on in the year. I used the Ultra phones as well. I used the S22 last year. So just in terms of having a phone that is comfortable and familiar, the S23 Fan Edition is just that. It feels like any other Galaxy, it's fast, it's efficient, especially all the flagship phones. It got some good weight to it, which I don't really mind. And overall, it does the job. I'm going to do more in-depth testing. But I do really like the $600 price range of this phone. Obviously, you can always get it for cheaper. You wait a month or two. Amazon, they knock $100 off. There's always random deals out there. So for me, I personally don't like to spend over $1,000 for phones. So this range is perfect for me. And I think you can get a lot of value in the mid-range $500 to $700 price. And this is part of the video where I start to ramble a little bit before I wrap it up. One thing I do want to point out is bad things tend to happen when Samsung jump numbers. For example, when they jump from the Note 5 to the Note 7, this resulted in all that battery exploding issue. And when they jump from the Galaxy S10 to the Galaxy S20, that was the year the whole world shut down due to COVID. So feedback for Samsung, stop jumping huge numbers because bad things happen. That is my own personal theory. Alright guys. So it's just a quick random video on day one in life of this phone. Just want to talk about why it matters. But so far on day one, I got about 12 to 13 hours of battery life under light to moderate usage. I do like the fact that it does have wireless charging. I believe it's only about 5 watt, but it works well. Unlike the wireless charging when I used the Pixel 7a, that phone always runs hot, so even though it's sitting on a wireless charger all day, it doesn't even charge. At least this phone actually does last me through the day, which is good. Especially when I'm at a desk job, I was able to just sit on my phone stand, and that is typically how I use my phone. When I'm up on the road, I will use it more, but if I'm at home, I'm okay with it just sitting on a wireless charger. Alright guys, this wraps up day 1 in the life of the Galaxy S23 FE. Let me know if you have any questions, anything you want me to cover in this day in the life series. And if you guys don't care about this phone at all, I can switch back to the Moto Razr. It looks like the day 1 video got a lot of interest, so I'll continue to monitor that to see if that phone is worth revisiting instead of me just doing extensive coverage on the Galaxy S23 FE. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Please check out my 1-day review on the Moto Razr 2023 if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.